We have 3 more divisions left in our NFL preview series, so let's get started with the NFC East. Not anymore the NFC least, rather the NFC Beast. Because last year we saw almost all 4 teams qualify for the playoffs, and even the Washington Commanders finished 500, so you know that this division is pretty stacked. To talk about the Dallas Cowboys, they have been a historic team to be getting a lot of headlines. We know last year with Dak Prescott with the turnover problem, he's been the butt of many jokes, including here on this platform, but I think he is primed for a redemption arc for sure. It's just a question of can he be consistent with his play, because whether we like it or not, Dak Prescott is probably a higher tier game manager quarterback rather than one of those more elite QBs that we have in this league. He needs that bigger cast around him, and it's going to be a newer flavor this year because no more Kellen Moore calling plays because he's out. He's coaching over in the LA Chargers camp, and we're seeing now that Mike McCarthy is taking over play calling duties. This is going to be a big change for Dak Prescott. It's going to be somebody new, and I'm pretty sure that from what we've heard in training camp, it's going to be a little bit more Dak friendly. And what I mean by Dak friendly is going to be simplifying the offense. A lot more checkdowns, a lot more bootlegs, getting him on the perimeter, on the edges, including a running game, because that offensive line, even though it's taken a step back from its historic great success that it's been known to be, it's still pretty good. I mean, you have a pretty talented cast across the board. Terrence Steele just got an extension earlier this weekend, and they brought back Zach Martin as well. Great guy, and he's going to be now fine, ready to go since he got his money. So I know that it's a very talented squad in Dallas itself, protecting up front, and they can pave lanes in the running game for Tony Pollard. We know that Tony Pollard was taking over slowly but surely last year from Ezekiel Elliott, and now he's going to be the feature back. Despite having that leg injury at the tail end of last season, he'll be ready to go for the opening day game against the New York Giants in week 1. And on the outside, pretty good talent there. You still have CeeDee Lamb, you still have Michael Gallup, who is now fully healthy after that ACL injury in the end of the 2021 season. And then you added Brandon Cooks, very talented wide receiving room. I think you have a chance now to be kind of back to that 2021 season where they were really good, talent across the board, and they put up a ton of numbers. Remember that this team is really good offensively with putting up a ton of points, and I expect that to be replicated this year. They have a really good schedule, I think, that can land them in a favorable matchup, especially in the back end. Now that front end, definitely a little bit concerning because you have the New York Jets, you have the Seattle Seahawks mixed in there, and remember that the NFC East is going to be playing the AFC West this year, so that's going to be a little bit tricky getting out of the gates. I remember that they're also playing the Los Angeles Chargers as well within the first 6 weeks. So Dallas, despite getting off to maybe a rougher start this season, I think they'll finish pretty strongly and be right up there amongst the top of the other teams in this division. To go to the defensive side, I mean, biggest guy that we know is Micah Parsons. He's come into the league with his lowest sack total being 13 sacks and continuing to improve. He was on the cusp of being a defensive player of the year, not quite up to that level of Nick Bosa, but still very, very productive, very disruptive player. And I think he's going to be continuing to build off of that. You know, when you keep coming into the league, you're going to have improvements, you're going to make tweaks. And he's a very highly skilled, highly motivated player, and I think he's just very, very smart as well. So Micah Parsons will be continuing to ascend up there amongst one of the best pass rushers, if not one of the best already. And then linebacking core, certainly not an elite group, but still I think very middle of the pack in the back end. Now bring in Stephon Gilmore, I think that's a great addition right there, because now with Trayvon Diggs, he's known for a guy to be very aggressive, so he's going to be cheating, he's going to jump a lot of plays, so he's very, very vulnerable to the sluggo route or a slant and go route. We saw guys like AJ Brown in their matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles last year. Trayvon Diggs picked the cheese on that slant move initially and then missed the go route. So, and I think this is another move that you can pair with Trayvon Diggs to counter the Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver room. Because now what you can do is you can have basically corners 1A, 1B, however you want to label them, go up against receivers 1A and 1B against the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's a really good matchup, playing a little game of chess by Jerry Jones. Really like that move. And it's going to be interesting to see how all these new parts work. Dallas always has great expectations. They're not up to the tier, I think, as the Philadelphia Eagles or the San Francisco 49ers, but they're just right there. You know, they're going to be very competitive. They'll challenge the Eagles, definitely. I think they're more of a wild card team. They could be the 5th seed, and then they'll probably play the NFC South winner. Then that's going to be very easy victory like we saw last year when they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you'll see them push the Philadelphia Eagles in a matchup in the divisional round, or the San Francisco 49ers. I think that gap between them and the 49ers at least has closed a little bit compared to what we saw in years past.